You ever think your whole life is one thing, solid, safe, even kind of perfect, and then in a split second, it just flips? That was me. My name's Rachel Morgan, and the day I sat in that courtroom, everything I thought I knew was already in pieces. That I was sitting there, back straight, chin up, doing my best not to crumble. Just a few feet away was my soon-to-be ex-husband, Daniel Morgan. And right next to him? Leah. The woman who helped blow up our marriage, and yeah, she was very visibly pregnant. The air in the room was thick with tension. Lawyers were shuffling papers, clerks were calling out names, and I could hear the soft buzz of whispers, like everyone knew something big was coming. Then I stood up. "Your Honor," I said, my voice steady even though I could feel my pulse in my ears. "Before we move forward, I'd like to call one more witness." Daniel's head whipped around so fast I thought he'd get whiplash. That smug little smirk he'd been wearing? Gone. Leah froze like a deer in headlights. I saw the confusion flash across both their faces. Then it shifted, into something deeper. Fear. The doors creaked open, and the sound of heels clicking against the tile echoed across the room. Everyone turned to look, and when the woman stepped in, Daniel went pale. I mean ghost white. His lips parted like he was trying to speak, but no sound came out. He hadn't seen this coming. Not her. Not today. That I didn't even look at him. Didn't need to. My eyes were locked on the judge, but inside, my mind was spinning with everything that had brought me to that moment. Not that long ago, I was a full-time mom, a wife who believed in the man across from me, and someone who honestly thought love and loyalty were enough, but that version of me? She was gone. As the witness made her way to the stand, my heart was pounding, not from fear, but because I finally saw everything clearly. This wasn't just about ending a marriage. This was about setting the record straight, reclaiming my dignity, and making sure the truth came out. And trust me, the real story was just getting started. Only 2 months earlier, you would have looked at my life and thought I had it made. I was 35, working part-time from home as a Spanish interpreter, raising 2 amazing kids, Emma, who was 8, and little Jake, who had just turned 4. Daniel had a high-paying job as a team lead at a big tech company. We lived in a quiet neighborhood outside Seattle, in a cozy 2-story with a backyard full of toys, sidewalk chalk drawings, and all the normal chaos of family life. On the surface, it looked like a dream. My days were filled with school drop-offs, grocery runs, toddler meltdowns, and late-night projects once the kids were in bed. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a life I poured my heart into. I cooked every meal, read every bedtime story, managed every little thing behind the scenes. And I did it all with love. Real love. Daniel, to his credit, played the part. He was always polite, smiled over dinner, helped with bills, sometimes even brought home flowers, just because. We didn't fight much, and when we did, he'd always tell me I was the glue holding us all together. And I believed him. God, I believed him, until that one ordinary Tuesday changed everything. I had just finished dropping off some notarized documents and happened to drive past Daniel's office. I slowed down, thinking I might wave if I saw him. And there he was, standing outside, hands in his pockets, looking relaxed. Too relaxed. I was just about to honk when a woman in a sleek black coat and sharp heels strutted right up to him, like she owned the sidewalk. And then? She kissed him. Right there on the mouth, like it was the most normal thing in the world. That I felt like the air had been sucked out of my lungs. I sat there frozen, watching my husband smile at her, wrap his arms around her, and lead her straight to his car. They drove off like it was just another day. No shame. No hesitation. That I didn't move for what felt like forever. My hands were gripping the steering wheel so tight they ached. Was this real? How long had this been going on? How could I have missed it? I blinked back, the tears stinging my eyes. There wasn't time to fall apart. I had to pick up Emma from school in 20 minutes. The breakdown would have to wait. Later that night, once the kids were tucked in and the house was quiet, I went downstairs. I felt like I was carrying 100 pounds in my chest. Daniel was at the kitchen table, scrolling on his phone, a plate of microwave lasagna in front of him. He looked up and gave me that same easy smile. Hey, babe. You okay? He asked, reaching for my cheek. I stepped back. Daniel, I said, voice calm but firm. Is there something you want to tell me? He blinked. Confused, and that was the moment everything began to unravel. About what? I asked, though deep down I already knew. I saw you today, Daniel, I said, steady but sharp. Outside your office. I saw her. I saw the kiss. The hug. Who is she? The silence that followed felt like it might crack the walls. Daniel slowly set down his fork. That phony smile vanished from his face. Rachel. I didn't want you to find out like that. So it's true? I asked, even though my gut had already screamed the answer. He nodded, too calm for someone who just set fire to a marriage. Yeah. Her name's Leah. She works with me. We've been seeing each other for a few months. It felt like the floor dropped out from under me. And you didn't think your wife, the mother of your kids, deserved to know? He ran a hand through his hair, clearly annoyed. I didn't mean to hurt you, but I can't just walk away from her either. What's that supposed to mean? I said, my voice rising. You want to have your cake and eat it too? Keep me here cooking dinner, raising the kids, while she gets your hotel room lunch breaks? I don't want a divorce, he said, locking eyes with me. The kids need a stable home. No, I snapped, shaking with anger. What they need is a father who doesn't lie. Who doesn't sneak another woman into their lives behind their mother's back. His expression shifted. Something darker moved across his face. You don't understand everything, he said. Leah's pregnant. The whole room started to spin. You've got to be kidding me. I whispered that he cheated, and now she was pregnant. And he still expected me to keep playing house? I'm sorry, he mumbled. But I'm not leaving her. I can't. That was it. I took a step back from the table, heart racing. Well, then you just made this easy, I told him. I'm filing for divorce. Tomorrow morning. His voice turned cold. You do that, and you'll regret it. I'll go for the kids, the house. You won't walk away with much. Think real hard about this. I stared him down. Don't you dare threaten me, I said quietly. Try to take my children from me, and you'll find out exactly what I'm capable of. Then I turned around and walked out of that kitchen, tears stinging my eyes, but my spine straight. Something inside me snapped that night, and whatever broke wasn't going to heal the same way again. The next morning crept in quietly. Daniel slipped out of the house before the sun came up. No note. No goodbye. Not even his usual coffee mug in the sink. Just, gone. I moved through the morning on autopilot, packing Emma's lunch, helping Jake with his Velcro shoes, answering a few work emails. Just going through the motions, trying to hold it together, but the numbness didn't last. That afternoon, everything cracked wide open, again. Daniel came home out of nowhere, and he wasn't alone. Leah walked in behind him, calm as ever, her coat draped over her arm. Her baby bump had just started to show under that snug little sweater she had on. That I came down the stairs, stunned. What is she doing here? I asked, my voice flat. Daniel didn't say a word. He headed straight to the kitchen, grabbed a drink from the fridge like it was just another Tuesday. Leah? She waltzed in and grabbed a plate of pancakes I had made that morning. For my kids. This house smells incredible, she said with a bright smile, like we were all old friends. You're a great cook. I might keep this recipe. I blinked, trying to wrap my head around the nerve. You think this is funny? I asked. You're in my house. My children live here. She met my gaze without flinching. Not for long, she said. Daniel and I are getting married. He's filing for full custody. You're not fit to raise them on your own. I turned to Daniel, my voice trembling. Tell me she's lying. He looked away. Coward. I told you, Rachel. You shouldn't have filed. You made this choice. You walked out. No, I said, choking on the words. You cheated. You lied. And now you're trying to erase me? Leah leaned against the counter, her smirk curling. We're going to make this house ours. Give the kids a real family. That's when it clicked that I didn't yell. Didn't throw anything. I just turned and walked upstairs. Kids, I said softly, kneeling beside them. We're going on a little trip. Just pack a few things, whatever's important to you. Emma looked up at me, wide-eyed. Where are we going? Someplace safe. I said that I grabbed the essentials, birth certificates, passports, my laptop, a couple changes of clothes. My hands were shaking, but I kept moving. I got the kids in the car, quietly backed out of the driveway, and didn't look back. I didn't know yet where we were headed. But I did know one thing for sure. We weren't coming back. There was no way I was going to let my kids grow up like that. I gripped the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping me upright, driving through the heart of Minneapolis while sneaking glances at Emma and Jake in the rearview mirror. Emma stared blankly out the window, while Jake clung to his favorite stuffed T-Rex, confused and quiet that we'd left everything behind. Our house, the furniture, the backyard swing set Daniel built one summer when he still cared. All of it gone. The life I thought was mine. Just gone that I didn't have a roadmap, only a few grand in the bank and a small emergency stash I'd tucked away for a rainy day. Daniel still sent money each month for household expenses, though I had a feeling that wouldn't last long that I couldn't go to his parents. They'd already made it painfully clear they were Team Daniel, no matter what he'd done. My own mom was across the country in Florida, and her health had taken a turn recently. Me showing up with 2 kids and emotional baggage wasn't going to help her. As for friends, I'd slowly lost touch with most of them over the years. Between potty training, school pickups, and managing our home like a one-woman operation, there just wasn't much time left for coffee dates and girls' nights, but I couldn't sit still. I pulled into a random gas station, handed the kids some snacks from the back seat, and scrolled through rental listings on my phone. I looked for anything, short-term leases, apartments, even extended stays, within 15 minutes of Emma's school. Then I saw it. A small 2-bedroom unit in an old red brick building near Riverside Park. Clean, cheap, and, miracle of miracles, available now. I called the number. Hi, I'm interested in the unit you listed, I said. It's for me and my 2 kids. We can meet in 40 minutes if that works. We got there early. The shutters were faded, the hedges hadn't seen a trim in months, but it looked okay. Manageable. Safe. The kids were cranky and tired, starting to ask questions. Mom, Emma said finally, why aren't we going back home? I crouched down beside her. This is going to be our new place for a little while, sweetheart. Just somewhere calm. Somewhere safe. The landlord, Greg, showed up a few minutes later. Middle-aged, soft-spoken, and, thankfully, he didn't ask many questions. Just handed me the key and walked us through the apartment. Basic furniture, clean kitchen, neutral beige walls, and 2 small bedrooms. It felt like a motel with a soul. We'll take it, I said before I could second-guess myself. That night, I tucked the kids into unfamiliar beds in a place that still smelled like lemon cleaner and old carpet. I lay awake in the other room, staring at the ceiling with a pit in my stomach, but something else was in there too. Grit. Fire. I didn't have a safety net. No backup plan. Just my children, my laptop, and sheer willpower, and for now, that would have to be enough, but just surviving wasn't going to cut it. I needed to fight. The next morning, I dropped Emma at school and Jake at a tiny daycare that took last-minute registrations. Then I sat down in a quiet corner of a coffee shop, laptop open and an old spiral notebook beside me. Late the night before, I'd texted my friend Tasha, one of the few I hadn't completely lost touch with. She replied with a name, Michael Jansen, a family attorney known for staying cool under pressure and going all in for moms. That I called. Mr. Jansen? My name's Rachel Hale. I need legal help. It's urgent. He agreed to meet me that afternoon. That I picked a cafe with a little kids area, so Jake could keep busy with wooden puzzles while I told my story. Michael showed up in rolled sleeves and a calm energy that instantly made me feel like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't drowning. Start from the beginning, he said, flipping open a leather notebook. So I did. I told him about the affair, the baby, Daniel's threats, how I'd left in the middle of the chaos, and the apartment we'd just moved into. My voice only cracked once, when I told him about Leah, standing in my kitchen, casually eating pancakes I'd made for my children. Michael didn't interrupt. Just nodded slowly. Rachel, you're not alone, he said. Family court doesn't just award custody to whoever makes the most money. You're their full-time parent. That matters. A lot. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding for days. But he's coming for everything, I told him. The house. The kids. He thinks I'm weak. That I won't make it without him. Michael's eyes narrowed. Then he clearly doesn't know who he's dealing with. He gave me a plan: start documenting everything. Every text. Every receipt. Every bedtime story. Every scraped knee I cleaned, every fever I stayed up with, every moment that proved I was the one holding it all together. And while I was rebuilding, Daniel was doubling down that he filed for full custody and demanded full ownership of the house. In court filings, he tried to paint me as emotionally unstable, financially incapable, and irresponsible, but I had the proof: bank records showing I paid half the bills. Emails confirming daycare pickups. Photos of science projects and birthday parties I planned solo. Dentist appointment receipts, teacher notes, school art. Proof of real motherhood. Of love. Of work that he underestimated me. Big mistake. There were witnesses from Liam's school and daycare, people who had never even met Noah. And then came the moment everything shifted. It was during the second court hearing. Noah sat tall, confident, a smug tilt to his mouth. My attorney, Michael, stood calmly. Your Honor, he said, flipping a page in his binder. We'd like to call a witness. Noah leaned back in his chair, still smug, until the courtroom door opened and walked his mother. Up until that point, she had stayed quiet. Claimed she didn't want to get involved. But something had clearly changed, and she'd had enough. Her voice steady, she spoke of my commitment as a mother. How she hadn't even known about Leah until I told her. That Noah had been seeing her for nearly a year, lying to everyone the whole time. You could feel the room shift. The judge's expression darkened. Leah looked like she wanted to vanish into the floor. Noah stayed quiet. For the first time, truly speechless. I sat still, quiet, but every nerve in my body buzzed. For once, the truth was being heard, not questioned. It mattered. 3 weeks later, I sat on a wooden bench just outside the courtroom, hands clasped in my lap. I had done everything I could, gathered the evidence, shown up, spoken truthfully. Now all that was left was the judge's decision. When the clerk finally called my name, I stood tall and walked inside. The verdict came slow, each word like the chime of a bell: that I would keep primary custody of Emma and Jake. Noah would get visitation, alternate weekends, supervised when needed. The house would be sold. Proceeds split, his motion for full custody and sole property ownership. Denied. That I sat there in stunned silence, the judge's words fading as a wave of relief washed over me, like warm light after a storm. I had done it. Leah didn't even show up to the ruling. Word was, she had left Noah 2 weeks after the last hearing. She told someone she was not built for this kind of chaos. Honestly, I believed her, and Noah ended up in a one-bedroom condo across town. He saw the kids now and then. His visits were civil but rare. The man who once vowed to be my partner now looked like a distant uncle at the door. As for me, I finally breathed. In that little apartment, I found something that had been missing for years: peace. I replaced the old blinds with soft linen curtains. Emma and I painted her room lavender. Jake helped me pot basil on the windowsill. I built a bookshelf with my own hands. We made a home, not perfect, not fancy, but real. And this time, when I picked up my pen at night, after the kids were asleep and the lights of the city blinked through the window, I didn't write out of survival. I wrote from something steadier. Braver. I still think about that old house sometimes. The garden. The cracked tile in the kitchen where Jake took his first steps. The hallway where Emma taped up her messy finger paintings. But I don't miss it, not the version of me that lived inside those walls. What I have now may be smaller, simpler, but every inch of it is mine. Every room has been fought for. Every quiet moment earned. People ask how I found the strength to leave. But the truth is, I didn't feel strong. I felt terrified. Lonely. Hollow, but then I imagined raising my daughter in a house where betrayal was normal. Teaching my son that disrespect could be forgiven if it came with a decent paycheck. And that was the moment I walked out. That I didn't leave because I stopped loving him, that I left because I started remembering how to love myself. If you're reading this and feel stuck in something that's quietly breaking you, don't wait for it to shatter all the way. You don't need everyone to believe you. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be honest with yourself first. That I smile now, not because I won, but because I reclaimed the one thing no one else could give me: peace, freedom, and the right to begin again. And if you've ever had to leave something that once felt like your whole world, please know this: you're not alone, your story matters. And sometimes the quietest, most powerful revenge is simply living well. If my story resonates with you, leave a comment below. Share your journey or support someone else in theirs. Like this if you believe in healing. Subscribe for more real stories, raw, honest, and full of heart, because here, we tell the truth. And the truth always rises.